Oh, I like that one. Happy Self-Care Sundays, everyone, and welcome to the Fine Arts, Fine Life space here on Instagram Live. I am Michaela Moore Harris, founder and executive director of Fine Arts, Fine Life, a nonprofit organization based in Birmingham, Alabama, that utilizes fine arts to improve the mental wellness of our youth by providing outlets for creativity and expression, and soon, arts therapy. You are tuned in to Self-Care Sundays, where we have vulnerable conversations surrounding the arts and wellness with dynamic people from all walks of life, but particularly within the realm of mental health and fine arts, be it advocates or experts. And so today we are speaking with comedian Roy Wood Jr. So you guys are in for a treat. Let me look at, okay. All right, so he just texted and said he'll be on in 2 minutes. So let me just shout out some of the people who've already joined. Pose Lovers, hello. Hello, hello. My beautiful aunt, Dorothy Datcher, she's with Sanitize Carrying Pouch. And let me tell y'all something. Actually, hold that thought. So while we're waiting, I'll put you guys on, and y'all can thank me later. So I have a sanitizing carrying pouch here. And if y'all check out that logo, A-Train, But so the sanitizing carrying pouch, and my aunt, I'm so proud of her. She patented this amazing item here that you wear around your neck. And it makes it more convenient for you to have your hand sanitizer. So it's all in an effort to minimize the spread of COVID. And we need that out here in these streets, right? Mogo Girl 71, hello. Jaden Dugan. Oh, Jordy is here. Oh, snap. So guys, just to kind of reset the space, you're tuned in to Fine Arts, Fine Life, Self-Care Sundays, where we have vulnerable conversations about fine arts and wellness with dynamic people. Today we are meeting with comedian Roy Wood Jr. He should be on in about a minute. And in the meantime, thank you, Jordy. Thank you so much. Reading Specialist 59. Oh, wow. Reading Specialist. I love that. Pose Lovers wanted to know where to purchase a SCP. Auntie, if you could drop your website in the comments. So hang tight. She's going to drop the website in the comments for us. How are you guys doing? Guess we can have a little check-in while we wait for Roy to log on. How are you guys doing? And where are you guys from? Jordy, where are you from? Let's see. Okay, and Brittany Gray has joined. Okay. Jordy. Oh, wow. So Jordy is from the Netherlands. Pose Lovers is from Europe. And so Jordy, if you scroll up in the comments, sanitizecarryingpouch.com is where you can purchase an SCP in that sanitizing carrying pouch. And I guess the intent also is to, well, the first intention is to minimize COVID. And you do so by conveniently having, your pouch around your neck so that if, you needed to grab your hand sanitizer, you're not having to contaminate all the items in your purse or maybe items in your pockets for, guys or whomever. And it just makes it more convenient to have your hand sanitizer. I know for me, as I'm in the band room and I'm making adjustments to instruments and doing different things, rather than having to walk all the way back to my desk, it's just so convenient to just take a little squirt and, you know, um, give a kid a squirt. Okay, guys, so Roy Wood Jr. has joined. So, Roy, if you send a request, he's going to send the request. It is great for teachers. All right, ladies and gents, without further ado,
Yeah,
Roy,
man.
how
Ah,
are you? Oh,
how you
representing,
doing?
representing.
Yeah, I know it's reading backwards because the way I got the camera oriented, but you know it is what it is. We'll be all right.
But we
How
know
you
what it
been, old
is. But
friend? Y'all know what it is.
pretty
Y'all know
good.
that snake ain't backwards. I'm sorry. I'm crazy.
Right, we know what it is. And I actually
That's so
thought
weird.
about showing some HBCU love and wearing those colors, but then I was like, you know what? I don't know what I have cute in my closet that's orange and green. Y'all beat us the game after our homecoming. So I was just like, yeah, we'll
Well,
be all
fam, you had we had a decent season this year. It was a
right. How are
little
y'all, how are you
decent though.
feeling about being in the sweat?
That it's inevitable. It's like Texas joined the SEC. In order for these conferences to survive fiscally, they have to start just playing together. I mean, the problem with the MEAC is that the MEAC goes from Daytona Beach all the way up to Delaware. The
Mm,
schools can't afford to travel no more. COVID really screwed a lot of schools over, especially Florida schools. Like part of why FAMU and Bethune went to the SWAC so fast is that the state of Florida is unique collegiately speak. Is that a word? I don't know. It is today. The state of
it is.
Florida,
It is.
collegetically speaking,
Wait a minute,
basically,
I don't know about that one.
well, it's a word now. They basically set up a rule where a college can only use money earmarked for athletics to support athletics. You can't pull money from academics and research and all that other stuff to help support the athletic department. Black colleges do not have the athletic boosters that white colleges have. And
You're
so
right.
the rule was set up to keep doctors from giving money to Florida State and UF and all in Miami, all the bigger white schools, but it hurt the black schools. So because of that, you got to cut down the travel. You got to get the fans in the seats. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of change, but FAMU and the SWAC, I think, is good for black colleges. I think it is good for recruitment. And I think it makes the games a little more electric because you're going to see Grambling every year. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to see Southern and Jack State every year now, and you get a good rivalry. I think what the joining the SWAC will do, it pretty much kills most classics because the whole point of the classic was to set up all the matchups that you normally didn't see between folks. So I think in
Right.
that regard, that's going to kill a lot of it. You'll have to probably go up the East Coast. I know we didn't come up here. Welcome to college football talk, everybody. But
Listen, I'm
ultimately,
pretty sure.
I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely. So listen, before we even start, I normally start out with a particular question, but
Okay.
I have a different question for you. Did you ever forgive B2K?
You did your research.
Did you
Yeah,
ever forgive them?
yeah. And the story she's talking about, if you all go on YouTube, it's called Arsenio Hall Saved My Life. It's a story I told it on Comedy Central on the show This Is Not Happening that I was hosting. Yeah. The thing is that B2K was never in the wrong. I was a grown ass man in his 20s, mad at two 13-year-olds who didn't laugh at my jokes on a reality show competition. They 13. They not supposed to understand what you're going through at 24. They wasn't
Right.
supposed to find it. So, but yes, in the moment, yes, I was angry. But I'm over that. If I
Okay.
ever, I've never seen them since. We also talking about something from 2003. It's coming up on, oh my God, 20 years ago. We're talking about something a long time ago.
That
So
was a
yeah,
gem. It was a gem.
I can let that go. I can let that go.
Okay, so you can let that go. And would we be fortunate enough to hear, like, could you bring that Hulk Hogan joke out of retirement for us at some
No,
point in the conversation? You can't.
never. No. I can't do
Okay.
his voice no more. Also, Hulk Hogan hate black people now, so you can't. Well, he was caught saying the N word, and I'm sure he went and took a class, and now he's a better person. But no, that I really can't even. There's probably not that many jokes that I told as a child, as an early comedian, that I would even go back and tell now. Like I can't stand beside that joke. I
Mm,
don't know. I could try, but I wouldn't remember it. I just
fair
remember
enough.
the gist of that Hulk Hogan joke was just about how I used to always act like a wrestler around the house because I thought I was you watch wrestling, and I slipped up and called my mom by her first name. So I mean, the meat of the joke is just don't ever call a black mama by her first name because you're gonna get dish ragged around that damn house like Macho Man Savage, and that's pretty much what happened to me. For
Okay,
sure.
fair enough. So let's start officially with, what is wellness to you?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm still finding it. That I catch myself relax and I go, should I just be doing nothing right now? Yes. Yes, I should just be doing nothing. Wellness to me is being able to make time to settle yourself mentally and emotionally and not let the go, go, go pace of this world and our society, in American society, um, take over everything, take over your mind.
Absolutely. I love that response. And
Mm,
it just kind of reminds us to give ourselves undiluted grace, because we're worthy and we deserve it. So I think it's totally fair.
yeah,
And sometimes I find myself doing the same thing. Like if I'm sitting around, when you're busy, 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 and I'm sitting around, I'm like, I know it's something I'm supposed to be doing, but it feels so good to just sit and reset.
correct.
But so my next
But that
question for you is, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
it's just difficult to find that when that hasn't been your norm for a long time, and that's what I struggle with. It's like just earmarking some time to do nothing, or also check on friends. Like that's part of my, I don't know, routine or whatever the hell. Just try and catch up with
Mhm.
somebody I haven't talked to in a while. Once a week, and like that'll help mentally slow you down as well.
Absolutely. So you're constantly pouring into people, places, and all the things, your son, your family, your career, your community. What do you do to refill your cup? And how do you prioritize wellness?
I still struggle with prioritizing wellness. It's high tide, low tide. Like it's not something I schedule every week. What is wellness? What makes you happy? What like the thing that I have to like be careful about is that there's a lot of people, for them, wellness is anti-work. And for a lot of people, work is part of your wellness. I like what I do. I enjoy the challenge every day of getting up and trying to figure out how to make something funny and then editing it and then processing the social response to it. I like sitting and staring at scripts all night, figuring out the joke. The trick is making time for other people so that they feel loved. I think when you talk about pouring into yourself, there's slow things that you do. I like going to batting cages. I like riding a bike sometimes. I like playing video games. I just got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. I'm gonna play some Mario Kart at 2 in the morning. But sometimes I like work because it doesn't always feel like work. Because the thing that I don't like, or the thing that I think is always a juggling, people go, if you do what you love, it'll never feel like work. Well, that's what I'm doing. And then y'all say, well, you work too much. Well, what the I'm just, I know you go to church. I'm not going to cuss. But it, it's this thing of sometimes it's just fun to just do what you love. That's the whole point. Like I did it for free for a long ass time. So it's just you have to be very, very, you got to be very, very careful about what you share with people, because we're getting into this thing of where people will critique your form of relaxation,
Mhm.
you know?
Oh, do
And
elaborate.
I'm just saying, you get people who will go, well, that's what you want to do. Yes. So I think there's a thin line though between being obsessed with something and not knowing what you don't know, and someone trying to help you and slow you down and going, hey, calm down, friend, versus looking at someone and just respecting their mood or their energy when they're in the middle of that thing, and not telling them to not do it, and not telling them to not do that. Like that part of the game, I don't like. I don't agree with that. And I
Hmm.
think that's something that, we have to be very, very careful about, when we claim we care about people, it's critiquing them.
Absolutely. So seeing how driven you are in your career and, your downtime is your work, like you enjoy it that much. It makes me kind of think of, the impact COVID must have had on you, having to slow down and having to, stop doing tour. Or what
Yeah.
was COVID like for you?
Um,
Like at the beginning?
this
How
is
do you
gonna,
unwind when you can't work?
okay. So the first thing I had to do, what I realized, and it's me, my partner, and our 5-year-old in this house. 2-bedroom apartment, of moderate size in New York. It ain't big, but it's just big enough to where everybody can get a corner, during the shutdown, because, she's on conference call to sell a shoe. I'm setting up cameras for the Daily Show, and he's on Zoom doing kindergarten over Zoom or whatever. So
Ah,
it's just enough space for everybody. But then as the months and months rolled on with the pandemic, what I realized for my entire career that I didn't know I was getting, traveling afforded me opportunities to be alone. And the relationship you have with yourself is as important as the relationship you have with other people. And so
say that.
there's, I lost a piece of that because I couldn't travel, because folks are always in your face and you love
Hmm.
them, and y'all, we live together. But also, you know what? Maybe I should buy a bike. I need to just go away for a minute. You know what? I
Hmm.
should try and go to the movies. That was low key. The shutdown, that was the time to go to the movies because wasn't nobody there. You could go in there, you sneak in all the food. I had 3 Baconators, and then,
Wait, so during the beginning of the pandemic, you went to the movies?
all y'all scared asses was home. Wasn't nobody at the movies until the movie shut down. When they shut down, I was like, all right, I can't go. But yeah, that was the best time to go to the damn movies. Even now, low key, let a movie come out for 2, 3 weeks, then go see it in the afternoon. That thing butt naked in there. You better go see that
Yeah.
movie. So, for me, it was about connecting with myself a little bit more and finding time and space to write and create and things like that. Because inherently, I also grew up an only child, and that's a big part of it as well.
Mm.
And there's a lot of alone time on the road as a comedian. And I just think my creative pattern, fell into that. And so once you understand the stimuli that feed your creativity, you can't alter that. You just have to find pockets of opportunity to recreate it. And so that was probably the biggest thing that I had to like navigate around, was just making sure that I had time and space to be alone from time to time because that helped fuel my creativity, which ultimately helps me feed my family.
Yeah, that part. That part. Okay, I'm gonna shift gears just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Oh yeah, and also shout out to Zacho puzzle boards in the chat right now. The jigsaw puzzles are a huge part of my life.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
jigsaw puzzles. And
puzzles
what
and
jigsaw
Sudoku.
puzzles
There's
do?
like a Sudoku book like literally 10 feet from me right now. Like that it creates instant stillness because I have to focus on that. So all the noise in my brain just goes away. So anytime I have something that I have to focus on specifically, that helps.
It's beautiful that you say that because puzzles have a huge impact on our brain, especially like the elderly. Um, what is I'm trying to think, not dementia, but I'm
Is it
thinking
Alzheimer?
Alzheimer's. So, like doing puzzles and things of that nature, they won't heal, Alzheimer's or dementia, but it stops the progression. And it's just
Hmm.
like the brain exercise that most of us don't know or realize we need. So, shout out to you, Jigsaw Puzzle. Okay,
Yeah.
so I read a quote from you. My hope is for Birmingham and Alabama to get a chance to finally prove to the rest of the world what we already know to be true is that we're capable, skilled, gifted the same as anywhere else in the world.
I don't
I thought
remember
that was
where I said that,
profound.
but I stand beside it.
You
I
said
agree
it.
with it.
And
That sounds like something I say. I just don't remember when I said it.
so just in my research and etc. I came across that quote and it stood out to me, obviously, being a native of Alabama. And I just wanted to take a beat to celebrate and honor you for um, building community and particularly the community that you grew up in.
Yeah, we're
Just
trying.
oh, yeah, because when it seems as though after reading that quote, for me, that you saw a void and a gap and you chose to stand in it. And I guess the part that resonated was for the rest of the world to see the talent and the gifts and all the greatness of Alabama. Because when I travel, if I tell somebody I'm from Alabama, the initial reaction is, and I'm like, wait a minute, don't give me that look. Then they
Yeah.
like, so what's it like for Black people in Alabama? And I'm like, we have a troubled history,
Yeah.
but we progress, right? Like anywhere else. So I just wanted to take that time, or this space and opportunity to celebrate you for being an ambassador and an advocate for Alabama and
Well, thank you.
Birmingham.
I'm not, it wasn't the plan originally, but there is definitely, I'll be short. The only people who are going to try and change Alabama are people from Alabama. Alabama can only change itself from within. So the people who are from and of that place who have an opportunity to go elsewhere and do things, if you have an opportunity to bring people back to change the views of that place, you have to do that. That's part of why I'm always talking about being from Alabama on every damn thing I'm on TV, because it's ultimately to help show people, oh no, there's other things that can come from this place other than racism and football. Like,
Absolutely.
we do both pretty well, but
Absolutely. We
but
have so many Birmingham natives in Birmingham not in Birmingham, but in New York on Broadway right now. It's actually mind blowing. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we have such a talented, theater and art community. So let me ask you, well, before I ask you, let me ask, what advice would you give brown and black children in Alabama um, who's potentially interested in following in your footsteps?
Mm. You can you find the other people that are driven where you live, even if they don't like what you like and then they don't do what you do. Find other motivated people to be around, and it's an energy that you'll draw from them. I can't describe it, I can't explain it. It's like sports. When you're on the court with someone who also wants to win, you will both work together in ways to win. You've also, we all had to pass a teammate that didn't really care much about trying to do any of this shit or really trying to pass the ball or really trying to win the game. But first, find the other motivated people in your area, preferably that are doing the same thing you do. If not, find the ones that are adjacent. If you're trying to be on camera, you can't find no actors, find a cameraman, find a director, find a photographer, find a graphic design. Just go down the list of people that are anywhere in that ecosystem or that in that career solar system, and just partner up and work together. That's probably the biggest thing that when I look back on my career, I just spent a lot of time hanging around people who just didn't really have or didn't know what they wanted or didn't believe. Because Birmingham, the problem with Alabama is that everybody tells you you're from Alabama, that Alabama is Alabama. And then you start believing it too. And then you're also raised by people. We're from a generation that's raised by folks who was just, if I'm being frank, a lot of them was just happy to not be getting kicked in the head no more. So in terms of dreams and aspirations, it stopped at, well, at least we ain't getting kicked in the head no more by white people. So you don't always know what's beyond the horizon because you may not have been around people that have traveled past it. The advantage the youngins got, though, they got cable and social media. I didn't have that. I was in
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham till I left for college. I never knew there was a comedy club in Hoover. The only time we went to Hoover was in December to shop for Christmas gifts. Like I told people, like folks talk about Alabama and racism and all of that, but Birmingham ain't Alabama. Not
It does
Birmingham in the
sometimes feel like
90s. Not Birmingham in the 90s. 80% black ass city. If it wasn't a classmate, I ain't seen a white boy. Like it was very insular. So this idea of knowing everything that's in the world, I didn't meet my first Latino till the seventh grade. And that's wild when you
mm,
think about people that are from other places that grow up in Spanish Harlem and Little Havana, and you you grew up in the Mexican, had Houston, Texas, and Latinos everywhere. Did not meet one. Never saw one
wow.
physically until the seventh grade. So that's how insular that world is. So you never even imagine what the hell is going on out there. So find the people that are motivated too, because they'll point you in the right direction.
And it's a melting pot here now. I actually, I'm from Demopolis, Alabama, but I
Mm-hmm.
also lived in Tucson, Arizona until I was 6.
Ooh,
And then moved to Demopolis.
two
So well, I
totally
was born
different
in
worlds.
Demopolis, moved to Arizona, moved back when I was 6, and then I would go back to Arizona in the summer. So I had the benefit of, you know, being, I guess, immersed in two different cultures.
You knew
Um,
because you went beyond the horizon.
yeah.
You went beyond the border of the city limits. It's like, but it's so many kids like that, and it's not just Birmingham. There's people, there's children that grew up in Miami that have never seen the ocean. Like that type of insolent, like just not knowing what else is out there. And
Mm-hmm.
there's I don't know. I just look back on mistakes, quote unquote, that I made in my day, and I just know the one thing I would have done differently is just trying to find other people that were doing what I was doing, because
I like
I'd been
that.
where I needed to be a hell of a lot sooner. So that's that's all we tried to do. Like when we came back to Birmingham 3, 4 years ago, and we shot Jeffco Probation, a Comedy Central TV pilot. We I shot it in Birmingham, and we had a crew of 90. Of that crew, 65 were Birmingham residents. We had it was 13 speaking roles in the show. 9 of those were people from Alabama.
Wow.
And that was important as well because it was so I had this Ricky Smiley moment where so when I was in college, Ricky Smiley was that dude from Birmingham. Ricky Smiley remains that dude from Birmingham because Ricky was first. Ricky was the most culturally impactful, one of the most culturally impactful artists from Birmingham to this day. I'll say that. But at that time in 1994, 95, when he was on 95.7 Jams and then he was on BET's Comic View and he got on Comic View and he was screaming Alabama, like something flipped in me because by that time I was in college and I'm like this dude is on TV and he from two exits up the freeway.
Wait, so you didn't know him?
I
You didn't
never
know
knew Ricky
him?
Smiley. I didn't meet Ricky Smiley till I replaced him at 95.7. But
Wow.
watching him on TV in college, like I can hang my hat on that. Oh, he from the crib, man. Alabama, you know Ricky Smiley. People would ask me if I knew Ricky Smiley because they knew we were both from Birmingham, and I'd
Wow.
lie. Yeah, I seen him around. I know Ricky Smiley, but that type of wow, somebody can be from here and do that. Well, then what can I do? So
Mm-hmm.
then that's when I was like, okay, well, if I ever have an opportunity to do a television show, I'm gonna do everything in my power creatively to bring that thing to Birmingham. And we're gonna pull up in the heart of the city and we're gonna shoot it with a gang of black folks. And there's white folks in that mix too. But more importantly, it was young people in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
We had interns and crew and PA from his neighbor, from Ricky's neighborhood. So you can't never think that it can't be done or that you can't do it because y'all literally pulled up every day for 6 days straight and saw it done. And then you took pictures and you posted it online. I hate that we weren't able to make that show. And I hate that the way the merger worked with Viacom and COVID, essentially killing the development of that sitcom. But God willing, I'm gonna get a chance to get a camera back in town. But my point was, in doing that, I was trying to make sure that that project was somebody else's Ricky Smiley moment. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then we had Ruben, and he had the what
Ruben
205
blew the whole thing out the yeah. Ruben had the whole
right. He
state
had
behind
the
Ruben and
205
Redneck.
campaign. Yeah. And it's just so important to have advocates on a national level, dismantling stigmas surrounding our state and our city. Because I tell you, like, I just get the most negative reactions when I tell people I'm from Alabama, and I'm just like, y'all just don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. I don't even get offended anymore. I let them. That's between you and yours, And
Mm-hmm.
more often than not, and if you really want to dig, especially if people are from the Northeast, I tell them straight up, appreciate you sending the racism down there. We got it seasoned right, though. We'll send it back up to you in a second. Like, don't act like because where you're from has a couple extra freeways and a couple extra nightclubs. It's, structurally better. But I don't get into culture arguments with people anymore. If you got a problem with where I'm from, that's personal.
Absolutely. So, shifting gears again, what's it like to work on The Daily Show?
Fun but stressful. That's
Stressful.
probably the best way to put it. Yeah, there's days where it ain't no good news. And we supposed to make that shit funny? Man, like 2020 George Floyd, do you really want to be making a comedy show that week? Is that the week you want to be trying to crank out some chuckles? Like but thankfully, Trevor Noah's found a balance between allowing us to feel collectively as a community, and then off of that, maybe a day or two later, you find jokes, you find panels, you find places to do stuff. But it's an honor to be able to be trusted with telling the stories of a lot of different groups of people and using humor as the vehicle for that. It's just days it's hard because it's just days you don't feel like laughing. Like this just it ain't funny. Like
Hmm.
you talk about being from Demopolis, right? All right. You're from a part of Alabama where some of those cities down there, when it rains too much, raw sewage backs up into the front yards of people's homes because of the way the sewer system and the septic tanks are set up in these racist ass counties. And that is a
I never knew that.
biological hazard. That is a biological disaster. Right outside of Selma, where everybody show up every March to go, oh, bloody Sunday, never forget. And you better pray it don't rain. You might step in something. So
Wow.
that's a story that should be told. But I can't tell it without making it funny. And that's the part that becomes difficult in the planning process before we go out the door on stuff. And so, we make it work, but it is, I don't know, man. This ain't Jon Stewart, George Bush Daily Show no more, where we can just take shots at the president and keep it moving. There's a lot of stuff happening on the state and local level that's just straight bullshit. And we have to pull up and figure out a way to make that funny. And also, we are dealing with a country that is far more politically active and connected
Hmm.
collectively. So
Yes.
they want action. So at the end of the day, you can find a story that's the funniest story, but is it the most meaningful? And if it's the most meaningful, how do you make it funny? And so that balance is what and it's a sliding scale. Every story is not going to hit at the same ratio. And some things have to be a little less funny in order for it to be poignant. I had a long conversation with a bunch of undecided black voters, and one of them was a black Trump supporter. And it was ultimately a conversation about black people trusting Democrats versus trusting Republicans versus people trusting outsiders. And it's a conversation that went a lot of different ways, but represent really real world views that a lot of us have. So you can't you can't just trick that off with a joke. It's still very serious stuff. So I think that part of it is it's a balancing act.
I think in this moment, you just humanized comedians and gave other comedians as well as just an audience, permission to allow you guys to feel what you feel. You know what I'm saying? We kind of put a burden on you to entertain and make us laugh. And, during really traumatic times in our lives, we kind of look to you for humor and, to lighten and soften moments. But at the end of the day, during the time of George Floyd's death, you guys were feeling what you felt as well. So it's really not fair to, I guess, place that responsibility on you to lift our spirits when you're going through things as well.
Yeah, but that's what comedians choose to do. I just think people have to remember that sometimes comedians are up there for themselves because they going through their own things and it ain't about y'all. Like, it's just that you get to enjoy this as a byproduct. But I don't know.
Um,
I stop short of a lot of the reverence of what we do. I think most comedians are in it to help themselves, and the byproduct is that the general public is able to get something out of it as well. Most of the comedians I know, I don't think they ever signed up for like the military, but I'm gonna serve the people and deliver these laughs on a Thursday night in a bar for $40 and then get booed. Like, nah. I think that most comedians just got something to say and they're getting it off their chest. And if they don't, then they'll just yell it into the ether. Then we become the people yelling on the side of the street and stuff like that. I want to give a shout out real quick. There's two people in here. I don't know if Takara's still in here, but Takara's in here. Scroll down to the comes Takara comedy. Very, very hilarious comedian. And also, I don't know why Janelle James is in here. Janelle James comedy. She's the principal on Abbott Elementary, which I know you, as an educator, have indulged a little bit of. But they're both very funny comedians, so I think we'll also co-sign that they did not get into this to be the world's therapist. They just wanted to help themselves. But it's beautiful that in expressing our own self, we're able to be seen. Other people can see themselves. And there's a comedian for everybody. Which is why also
Absolutely.
some people don't like certain comedians because they go, he remind me of some people I don't I don't fool with.
I have
Um,
students and even friends who are just innately funny. And I always, encourage them to capitalize on that talent. Like, don't just be sitting around here, being funny for free. Like, go ahead and try to do something to elevate and showcase this talent. And I have one friend who said, I am funny in conversation, but this person tried to do stand up comedy, or it was something locally going on, and she was just like, I flopped. Like, I don't think that's my talent. How do you recommend people hone in and discover, you know, a way to deliver um, jokes, or to actually make this talent work for them?
I think that they have to keep trying. You can't do it just one and done. But I think whatever your gift is, if you don't think you did it well, study people who you respect to see if there's something that you can learn from that. For as long as there's somebody in the game that you think you can do it better than, stay in the game.
Mm,
like that's
I like
that's
that.
what that's what got me into comedy. I was like, all I gotta do is be better than him, and I get paid. I bet.
Your facial expressions, I swear, are everything. I was like looking up, trying to find pictures of you, and I don't think I found one picture of you or everything was like these really hilarious facial expressions. So I love it. You make me laugh even without saying a word. Like, you just look and start making a facial expression, and here
Well,
we
thank
go.
you. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Well, Roy, I don't want to consume your entire day. I just, I'm so grateful for you taking this time to share with us. Someone said Roy got the faces. I love it. Oh, wow. Well, while we're here, I did want to ask, can you tell us what it's like being a new dad? Well, you're not necessarily a new dad. It's still fairly new, but
Fatherhood, I've never been more motivated than after having a child. I will say that. I've gotten more done in the last 5 years of my career than the first 15.
get out.
Um, there, like, there is a lot of I don't know what I'm doing. You're just driving in fog and you hope you're doing a good job. Parenting sucks because you don't know if you did it right until the kid's like 20, whether or not he's got issues. Like, so, you don't really know. You try your best. But no, it's fun. There's definitely, I probably should say that that's probably part of my wellness is just being present as a father, because that's also another activity in a time where my mind can completely, where everything, the noise completely leaves my mind.
I love that. Are you encouraging him to participate in like fine arts programs, or play an instrument, or do anything like? Did you?
Where,
Well, I did see a picture of you playing guitar. Did you play
trying
in like organized
Guitar
Fine arts
low key
activity.
is expensive, so I couldn't stick with it. I did piano until we moved to Birmingham in the third grade, and then I played the flute for 2 weeks in the sixth grade.
Not the flute.
See that face right there? That's exactly why I stopped playing it. I wanted to play
No,
the
I would
trumpet,
encourage it.
but
I would encourage it.
I would not encourage it at all. I wanted to play the trumpet, but all the trumpet chairs were taken, and the only thing left was flute, and I had to take band, so I played the flute. Man, I got on the school bus with that flute case so I could go home and practice. Yeah, walk home, and well, you don't know where I lived in Birmingham. I lived in West End, and so I walked 2.5 miles. My bus drop was Central Park Elementary School, and I walked basically down South Park Road towards West End High School. 2.5 mile walk every day, and I made that walk for years. 2.5 miles past the South Park projects, gangs of disciples out there on the corner just chilling, and I'm walking by with this flute case. No, dog, I'm not living like that every day. I'm not living like that every day. So,
I'm so tickled. I'm walking by with this flute case. I have a story. I have a student. Okay, so I said I encourage it, but just by virtue of, where I work, I had a student who really, really wanted to play the flute. And so I asked him, are you sure? He was like, absolutely. I want to play the flute. And me knowing, depending on where you are, you can really get teased. For whatever reason, people feel that genders are associated with instruments, which
correct.
truly just is not the truth, right? So this boy was adamant about playing the flute. And I said, okay, listen, once we decide on an instrument, you can't change your instrument. So are you positive? And do you know that you're strong enough if someone's teasing you? Do you feel like you still be able to move forward? And he said, yes, ma'am. I'm gonna say after the first week, he was just like, Miss Moore, can I please play the drums? I said, no. He was like, Miss Moore, please, I just want to play the drums. I said, no. You asked to play the flute. You're gonna play the flute. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And when we would go to performances in like more urban areas, I could hear people snickering about the flute. But then if we go to like let's say a Hoover, somewhere around there, it's so acceptable. Everybody, like lots of boys, everybody's playing the flute. So that's hilarious. And I'm even more tickled that you're like, I'm walking around with a flute case. Wait a minute.
Like,
So what if your son wants to play the flute?
that's fine. I'm not saying I'm gonna stop the boy, and what if he gay and whatever he gonna be, and I'm gonna support it. I don't care. But for me, I'm gonna get this basketball. And I'm like, I used to play soccer. Even playing soccer, you get teased in the '90s. You had to pick up a soccer ball. You better pick it up and dribble it, so you at least look like you just a kid who can't afford a basketball. So,
Oh my God.
like, being broke gets you more respect than making courageous choices. Yeah. So no. With the boy now, a little bit of piano. It's been difficult on the instruction side of the game because COVID the last 2 years. And I don't want no piano instructor. Just piano, one of them COVID talents. Your instructor got to be all up in your face for you to learn that. Otherwise, I'm the one that's got to teach it. I ain't got the time yet. So swimming, karate, tennis, a bunch of get your ass away from me ass activities for right now. He seems to be liking checkers, so I guess chess will follow at some
Oh, nice.
point. But
Nice, nice, nice.
he's definitely into strategy and creating and building. So he's Legos and Marvel runs and stuff like that. He's a brainy kid. He's a good kid, so I try to encourage him.
Really nice. So Jordy, who is just a avid supporter, asked, is he still playing the flute? Actually, he is. He's in high school now playing the flute. So
No,
absolutely.
oh, your kid playing the flute. I thought
Yeah, my
I
student.
played the flute. No, I did that
Yeah.
for 2 weeks in 1989. Never hollered back.
And here's the
I do know
thing.
home position though. I do know that. I can still do that.
You
You can do it.
you don't know.
I
Not
just
like
did it.
this.
I just did
We
it.
want you to turn the right hand this way.
Is that how you do it? Okay.
That's how you
I
do it.
gotta practice. I gotta practice.
But I encourage my students to be proud of themselves and stand up for themselves and, you know, to be leaders. And that's the primary reason I wouldn't allow him to change his instrument. It wasn't because, you insisted, I'm going to punish you, I'm going to make you. No, it was about, you know what? You made a choice and you need to stand by that choice and not allow outside people to dictate your decision, because he actually was so talented. So, yeah.
Two Frames said that ain't the flute position. They said that's the rolling up position. They said I'm rolling me.
Hilarious. That is hilarious. That's
Yeah,
hilarious. Well, let me check the time here. Where are we on time?
we
Oh,
good. We
wow.
got
We're at
time for one more.
47.
Fire off one
Huh?
more. We fire off one more. We good. We good.
Okay, okay.
All right.
So, Roy, let me see. Let me see. I did want to ask. So you said that you did band for 2 weeks. Did you do organized sports? Like I know you said like you picked up
Yeah,
like what was the final hurrah for you with band? Like how did that end for you?
that was it. That was it.
I mean, so you played
It
flute
was
for
Mr.
2 weeks and
Smith.
then what happened?
It was
What'd
Mr.
you play
Smith
next?
at WJ Christian. I don't know if you knew Alvin Smith, if I'm not mistaken. I think his last name was Smith. He was my band director.
Yes, I
Um,
do.
I
Kind of
went,
short guy. I hate to say
yeah,
short, but
yeah.
I
I
love
ended
him.
up,
He saw me on the news recently and he called to say he was just so proud. And I was just like, he's retired. He
oh
retired.
yeah,
Maybe
he's got
like,
to be out the game.
well, no,
Um,
it wasn't that long ago though. He might have retired maybe like 7, 8 years ago.
oh damn, he stayed in. And band directors be
Someone
holding on
said,
that
is
much.
Roy on a date? What's happening here? No, he's not on a date. So let me reset the space because we've had a lot of people come.
Reset
Um,
it for the last question. Come on.
Yeah, to reset the space, you're tuned in to Self Care Sundays, a production, well, not production, but a product of Fine Arts, Fine Life, a nonprofit organization based in Birmingham, Alabama. And we're talking with Roy today about wellness and all the things. So, yeah, no, this is not a date.
Somebody just put up
um,
hands at baseball. Yeah, I played basketball through middle school, and then in high school I played baseball. That was the only thing I played. I played basketball and soccer organized through middle school, and then in high school, really all I had time was really all I was good at was baseball. And then I just started working the rest. Like I would work like 20, 30, part time. I had part time jobs during the fall and then in the spring play baseball. So I
okay.
mean, I might try and get him to play some baseball, but I don't care what he wants to do. If he whatever he want to do, I'll just figure out a way to encourage it. That's what my mama did with me. Even when my mom didn't agree with me doing comedy, she still supported it, which is wild. Like as a parent now, I couldn't imagine looking at my son doing something I don't approve of. I think it's just a waste of time. And then buying him a car so he can be better at it. So he doesn't
Mm.
have to ride the bus. Like that's probably one of the biggest. They are roasting me about this flute in these comments. I'm gonna have to block
And
everybody.
jazz flute.
I'm gonna block everybody, and I'm gonna report all y'all pages as abusive content.
Wow. And
But
speaking of
yeah.
son, you're a son. Your dad was in radio. Yes?
Yeah. My father, he was a civil rights journalist. I mean, he did radio news or whatever, but he cut his teeth, covering a lot of, events live. Like the equivalent of pulling up to whatever protest now with a camera. My dad was doing that with a tape recorder in the 50s and 60s. So yeah, so
Wow.
I mean, it's so in a way, a little bit of what I do with the Daily Show is kind of similar to that. you know. But I get to add a joke or two. My father was embedded with Vietnam soldiers, with black Vietnam platoons. They were getting killed, by and large, way more than white soldiers because they were getting sent into impossible situations. He was there for the Soweto riots in the 50s, the Rhodesian Civil War, and Zimbabwe, like my pops, like front lines of like some of the most violent, chaotic times for black people across the diaspora, not just in America, overseas as well. So yeah, I need to figure out how to make a joke about Alabama sewage funny. That's the least I could do, in terms of just bringing light, to issues, across the world.
Roy, I appreciate you so much for just being here and taking the time to impart knowledge and, share your thoughts with us.
Well,
I
thank you,
appreciate
man.
you. I
Well,
appreciate you.
thank
Ooh,
you.
you got some FAMU fans.
Oh yeah, some rattlers in the building. Some rattlers in the building. Yeah. Let that snake strike again.
I have to make a habit of wearing like my A&M gear. I did that once when not Roy, Ruben and I did self-care Sundays. I like your boobs.
Oh, my
What?
boobs. I know they ain't talking about your boobs. Your boobs out the shot. We
You have
let me
dropped a lot of gems today.
let me just
So
plug real quick. On Wednesday, my hour special Imperfect Messenger will be on Paramount Plus. You can watch it now on the Comedy Central app if you can figure out how to work it. It's there for free. You can watch that now. But that's it. I appreciate you for having me, homie. And when I'm back in Birmingham, I'll look y'all up and we'll all go out for Milo's.
raise the roof. Not
You just
Milo.
raised the roof. Oh, I'm gone. You just raised the roof. You just took it back to
Oh my gosh. All
1994.
right. Well, you have an awesome evening, Roy. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be in touch with you because I got some questions about some things.
Yeah, ain't hard to find.
All
Ain't hard
right.
to
Well,
find.
thanks so much. And
Cool.
thank you guys, everybody here who tuned in. As the saying goes, you could have been anywhere, but you decided to spend this time and space with us. So you're much appreciated. Thank you guys. And I see like 69, 70 people. If you haven't, follow us, please. Follow us here on fineartsfinelife.com. Not .com. That's our website. But follow us here on Fine Arts Fine Life. Appreciate you guys so very much. And I'll be looking for those follows. All right. Until next time. Okay. And I'm ending. Flute gang. Somebody is still talking about flute.